Hey friend, Michelle Dennis Evans here. Welcome to Creator to Write, where we turn blank pages into finished work. You'll be encouraged, inspired, and learn practical strategies to move forward with your writing, whether you're just starting out or ready to level up your craft. And if you're looking for ways to support your creative work with an additional income stream, I'd love to chat with you. Please reach out on social. Now for today's episode. Today I have the gorgeous Janette with me. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Michelle?
Very well, very well. It's so much fun to have a chat with you over Zoom. Would you like to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm one of those rare creatures who is an old lady now, but I've been writing all my life, even before many Christians did. Like people would treat me as one of those and say, "Would you have my mother to afternoon tea? She's never met an author." And so I do funny things like inviting my friends' mothers to afternoon tea so they could say they'd met an author.
Oh, that's cute. That's so much fun.
Yes, because it
What?
was quite different in those days.
Yeah. What made you first want to write?
Well, I didn't ever think about whether I wanted to write. When I was 6 and all dressed up ready to go to school, I have no idea whether I'd pre-thought this, but I can remember I stood in the kitchen doorway, dressed in my little school clothes, and I sprouted a little four-line poem with correct rhyme and rhythm and meter in it. And my mother stared at me. And the next day, my parents presented me with a little homemade book called Janette's Poems and full of lined pages, which I promptly filled up. So, and it's all, I've still got it. It's in my old-fashioned cursive writing,
Wow, you've kept it all these years.
Yes.
Oh, that's incredible.
My mother probably kept it. Initially, I didn't keep anything, and there would be little scraps of newspaper that she'd torn out when they'd encouraged me to send things into the Saturday Children's page and all that. And Mum would keep them. I would have probably just thought, oh, that's exciting, isn't it? And the 5 shillings was very exciting. But Mum kept everything, so that was great.
Yeah, wow, that is very cool. And so who do you write for then?
I have a completely different audience with every book, which
Mm.
sounds weird, but then I've lived through every phase of age just about. So, um, my first actual book was Jodie's Story, which was written predominantly for young people, although it seems that most ages have read it. It's still out 35 years later in its third edition. Uh, it was written because I'd already interviewed for the Teen Challenge newsletter a girl we'll call Jodie, who had been a prostitute and a heroin addict. And then that stayed with me. The newsletter went out, but the story stayed with me. And I felt that it needed to be a book. And I was teaching speech and drama in those days. And I had all these teenage pupils, or a lot of them were. And they would share with me, oh, I'm going through this situation. I'm not sure what to do about it, blah, blah. And I thought they just need to know about these things that I've just written about. And anyway, I knew it was time for me to write a book. And so that was several years later. And I thought of a few ideas as well as Jodie's story. And I rang what was then the biggest Christian publisher in Australia and told them, I'm going to write a book and I'll probably submit it to you. Would you be more interested in Jodie's story or that or that? And they said Jodie's story. So I wrote it and I sent it to them. And they weren't sure at first because they just published one about the girlfriend of Mick Jagger or something like that. And so Jodie was a bit in the shadows after that. But then Teen Challenge decided to celebrate their 20th anniversary and to launch it at that and to buy the first 1,000 copies. So they went ahead, of course, and
Awesome.
it just went from there. And it opened other doors for me to write biographies because other publishers thought, oh, there's someone who can write a biography. Because in those days, there weren't so many people doing it.
Mm.
There was hardly anybody doing it.
That's
So,
incredible. So
yes.
what does your writing routine look like then? Is it uh, all biographies that you write?
No, I write anything. But in relation to books, I've written 4 books since 3 biographies. And the next one that I'm going to write, that I've started on, is a collection of my blogs called God Whispers, which is God intervening in our lives, whether it's in everyday life with little things that we sort of think, oh, I really, really need such and such. And lo and behold, God provides it. And or whether it's something, there are a few of these, just but not many, really big miracles where somebody is given a death sentence and they get healed. So I've got a mixture of stories. There'll probably be quite a few. It'll probably end out about 80 pages.
Lovely. And how do you get from idea to book?
Well, different with this one because I've already written the vlogs, and so it's very
Mm-hmm.
easy. I'm just putting them in clusters that seem to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But with other books, I usually have the kernel of an idea, and I'll write that kernel, and it'll turn out to be either the beginning or the climax of the book. And then I'll start thinking about the characters and what they might do and how they might have gotten to this situation. And I'll develop the characters. And characters are important to me. My books tend to be character driven. And then I just take from there and work out a proper plot line and do my best with it.
Yeah, okay. So I guess it's different with the book that you're putting together now. In the
Mm.
past, how do you know when it's ready? Like when do you stop working on a book?
Theoretically, never, but of course, you can't do that. And so I just I rewrite it several times, and I'm lucky to have a sister who will also read it a few times. And I have several friends who are very happy to read it and give input. One of them actually has one of those brains that picks up everything in the timeline that's a bit out of whack. She'll say things like, but they wouldn't be swimming at that time of year because it'd be June. And I'm thinking, June, is it really?
That's
So,
cool. Yeah, it's so good you've
yes.
got someone to pick up those
I
things.
know.
Yeah,
So,
so well, thank you for joining me here today. And I will put your links and lead anyone to find you if they want to find you online. And just those who are watching, please hit that like and subscribe button because it really does help. And before we go, do you have any words of wisdom you would like to leave our viewers today?
write, start now. Don't put it off any longer. Uh, join with other writers. Find a writer buddy or a little group of writers and join up with them and input one another's work. Criticize helpfully, not nastily, one another's work, and be willing to take on board people's opinions because it does help enormously. And before you actually send it to a publisher, get it edited professionally. It's a good worthwhile investment, I think. You may need to look around and find somebody you can afford and who is not going to eliminate your voice, who will keep your own personal voice. And I feel that's important.
Yes, I agree. Some great tips there. Thank you. And do you have any recommendations for groups around? Like, who do you go to?
Well, there's the online groups like Christian Writers Down Under. I find that excellent. And
Mhm.
if I need to know anything, I usually put up a question on that blog and I read nearly everything they put up. So I feel as if I know them all, even the ones I haven't met,
Yeah, it's a beautiful group, isn't
isn't it?
it?
And I have a little group of us, just a very small group who meet here once a month. And I also go to a small Amigas group up in Beerwell, which is just about half an hour's drive away. And we do that once a month as well. And so, yeah, it
So
works
go
really
both
well.
in person and online is good to find. Yeah.
It is. I had both. I have both, and they both help in different ways.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, Janet, and thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for hanging around till the end. Please remember to leave a review if you've enjoyed this podcast and share it with a friend. You never know who is wanting to get those words out of their head and into a book.